Be Stellar Podcast, episode 2.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Alex Ostojci. This is David Wyrick.
Thanks for joining us on our second podcast. We're going to talk about never quitting. Never quit.
Never quit. Once you quit, you lose momentum. Doesn't matter what you do, and things usually don't go good from there.
You just set yourself back.
Yes, you do.
just set, and you don't see that setback until later on, and you're like, man, if I wouldn't have quit. You know what really gets me on never quitting is all the times that I've went to the gym and I was going to get in shape, and I went for like 2 weeks hard, bro.
Yeah.
And then something comes up, and I just don't go, and then I just don't go. And then I think like 6 months later, 7 months later, God, if I just would have kept going,
What would have happened?
I would be this like, I'd be Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
Straight
yeah,
up. Like
pretty much.
Arnold would have nothing on me.
Well, in business,
That's
the
a joke.
crazy thing is, people start a business on the side. That's what we talked about in the first episode, right? Keep your job, start something on the side, some type of hustle, right? But what people do is they don't quit on their job because they're working for somebody else because they see
It's
immediate
the steady paycheck,
gratification,
steady
right?
income. It's safe.
But something they start for themselves, as soon as it gets hard, they quit.
Yeah. And
It's
you'll
like-
find the hardship in the things you start yourself. There's hardship because at a job you have somebody else watching over you. You know what I mean? You have a fallback technically at a job. Like, oh, sorry, you messed up. You could get fired, but most of the time they're going to be like, okay, well, let's fix it. And plus, it's somebody's already made all those mistakes, and they have policies set in place. Like, you know why they make you turn all the machines off before you can work on them? Because somebody got their arm chopped off one time.
Of course.
So they know all that.
Yeah.
Whenever you go into business for yourself, there's so much material out there now that you can learn a lot, but experience is the best teacher. Mistakes are the best teachers. Losses are the best teachers. Because when you're succeeding, I hate to say it like this, when you're succeeding, you're not technically learning because everything's falling into place. But when you fail, you stop and you go, okay, I know what not to do now, and I know how to succeed next time. Succeeding is whenever everything you've learned is in place. And then failing is going, oh, let me learn the lesson from that. And then you move on and you succeed next time.
Yeah, as long as you don't repeat your failures, you should be a lot better from that failure. Just don't repeat it. Learn off of it. Keep going. But that's really crazy. Like in our business, people run into something hard, and the first thing they do is quit. And they go back. So they come into the business with ambition. They're motivated, right? Man, I can't wait to fire my boss. About a month into it, they fail one exam or something like that. What do? They quit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is not for me. This is not. It's like your job is not for you either, but you keep going to it because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of give yourself a choice where you can't go back. Like, hey, I'm starting this business on the side. I'm starting this side hustle. Right, I will never quit. You give yourself no choice. You just don't quit. Doesn't matter how hard it gets. Doesn't matter how many obstacles you got to jump over. Business is all about problem solving. Okay, if somebody told you, hey, your business will be successful after you solve 10,000 problems. How many problems you solve a day is how fast your business is successful.
Correct.
And what people don't understand, it's problems will always come up and you just got to solve it. That's what business is problem solving. But if you quit on problem solving, you quit on whatever you're doing.
That's what a business is, though. You create a business to solve a problem, to solve a need. It's not, hey, I'm going to make this business and nobody needs this. You know what I mean? Like t-shirt business, people should wear clothes.
They should.
Most of the time, they should wear some sort of clothing, unless you're like a nudist, but you should wear clothes,
Agreed.
So people need t-shirts. Most people don't like just a plain t-shirt. So what can I put on a t-shirt? You're solving a problem. We do financial services. We see a lot of people's money get lost in the stock market. We see a lot of families hurt from death in the family, from illness in the family. And so there's a need there to step in and say, look, here's how you protect yourself from that. It's like, that's why we have auto insurance, because people get in car accidents.
Exactly.
That's why you have house insurance, because fires and things happen. And you have to have a way to cover that. You may never use it, and thank God if you never do. But You have to be able to protect yourself. So that's a need. You know, people build buildings and lease out office spaces because people need offices. That's a
Exactly.
need. So for your hustle, you just have to figure out, okay, there's a need out there. How do I fill it?
Yes.
And that's going to come with problems. Okay,
Yes.
I can't do it this way because the city doesn't allow me, or I can't do it this way because it's illegal and you didn't know, because there's little things that you can't do.
Yes.
You know, and so the trick is, though, whenever you find those problems, don't just throw your hands in the air and say, well, I tried.
No,
Like,
you didn't.
if you're passionate about it, then figure out a way around it.
Well, and that thing I tried, if you did it once, you didn't really try, right? You got to keep coming back over and over and over. I started a t-shirt business, man, overnight. Okay, I told the story last time what happened. Dude, I woke up one day and I was like, man, I need logos. I need t-shirts. Somebody needs to print it. I need to figure out taxes. I need to figure out licenses. I need to figure out Photoshop. You know, I learned how to use Photoshop off of YouTube. It took me like a couple of weeks of watching videos day in and day out. But I learned it. You know why? Because I never quit, right? I didn't quit. Now I had to shut down my business temporarily and I just reopened it. That shows you right there that I didn't quit on it, right? So just keep going. Now I did make a mistake of shutting it down. I shouldn't have done that, right? So I learned off of that mistake. So guess what I'm going to do? What I'm not going to do in the future?
Shut your
Shut it
business
down
down.
again.
Right.
Doesn't matter how hard it gets. You just work harder. You work longer. You work more. Come up with different solutions. Come up with different T-shirt designs. Hire some people. Go to different fairs. Go to you know, get your name out there.
You mean work?
Yes, work. Some of the things that people don't really do these days. It's crazy, man.
If you're going to have a side hustle, it is going to cut into your time.
Yes.
It's going to cut into your couch time. It's going to cut into
Netflix.
your binging time.
Yep.
It will cut into your family time. I mean, sadly, that's part of it. You know, definitely always make time for your family. I'm not saying that. Like, your kids are only kids once.
Yes.
And that's time that you can never get back. You know, you can always restart a t-shirt business. You can't go back to when your son was 5.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, so make time for your family. You can't get those moments back. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to have a side hustle, if you're going to just start something, even if you take a break, don't quit. Like, always keep in mind, okay, what do I need to do next? Even if it takes you longer, don't quit. Stalk that like you're hunting prey. Like, you might have to go back out again and again to find what you're looking for. But don't stop. Don't quit, because you will regret it. We know lots of people in the financial service businesses that talk about, man, I wish that I wouldn't have quit, you know, for 5 or 6 years, because look where the people who didn't quit are now.
Yes.
Look at the money that they're making. Look at all the families that they've helped. Look at what they're doing. But I quit. And now I'm getting
Yes.
back into it because I see now where I should be
Yep.
versus where I am.
And you start from the bottom again. Every
Right.
time you quit, you start from the bottom again. And that's not what you want to do. You're just setting yourself back. So it's just easier not to quit, like push through that pain. It always gets worse before it gets better. If you got a job that you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but you hate it, there's 168 hours in a week. So start a side hustle for 10 hours a week, you
Yeah.
know, 15 hours a week, whatever you can afford. Maybe 1 week you're like, you know what, we're going on vacation, I can't work this week. Okay, skip it, but come back next week, the following week, and continue where you stopped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most people, they would rather, you know, this is what I don't understand, man. I see people in traffic all the time being pissed off, nervous. I lived in California, in Vegas, in Chicago, terrible traffic. You know, they're rushing home. And I'm like, what are they rushing home to? Well, some of those people were my friends. You know what are they rushing home to? They're rushing home to drinking a beer, playing a video game. It's like they're not going home to actually make their life better, right? They're
Yeah.
going home to like act like losers, like have nothing to do.
Well, listen, if you're happy with your life of going to work and coming home, if your life is good, then good. Good for you.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself in a place, and this is not just work related, this is in general, if you find yourself in a place in your life and you're just not happy, and all you do is complain about it,
Yes, especially financially.
but you don't ever do anything about it, do me a favor, do your friends a favor and your family a favor and shut up. Because nobody likes it when people complain about how bad their life is, but they never do anything to change it. Like that irritates me more than anything. Like to be around somebody negative that's like, oh, I hate this and I hate that, and I'm miserable and I don't like this, and I'm like, well, what are you doing to change it? Like, are you change your mindset for one? Like day one of, okay, we're getting out of this.
Yes.
Not getting out of maybe your situation, but getting out of your situation in your mind.
That's it. It's all mind games.
It's perspective.
Yes.
It's okay, how do I make this better? You know what I mean? And so that's what you have to understand is like you're trying to just make your life better. Not that this has anything to do with anything probably today, but I want to share this.
Go ahead, man.
I was reading a news article this morning in Iowa, I believe. This is going to blow your mind, bro. This girl, when she was younger, she ran away from home to get away from her abusive home. Okay? And she was abducted into a sex trafficking ring and was passed around from guys to guys, right? Being raped. At 15, she killed her rapist, the guy that was passing her around, right? Now she has to pay his family $150,000.
Wow. Well, I don't know what to say about that. It's called failed policies.
But, and here's what kind of made me go to that, though, is that young lady made a decision of, I'm not going to do this anymore. And she got out.
Yeah.
And she's on probation for like 20 years or something like that, for murder. And I guess that what they got her on is that she pled guilty to manslaughter for killing that dude. But she shouldn't have to serve any time, in my opinion. I guess that's the way their laws are set up in that state, though. It's stupid. Like, somebody should start a GoFundMe for her, and she shouldn't have to pay jack to that. But anyways, but she made up her mind. She said, hey, I'm not going to let this happen anymore. Yeah. I'm going to take the problem out. And sometimes, and in that situation, like, I'm not for killing of any sort, but in that situation, like...
Oh, he deserved it.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he straight up deserved it.
And I say that because that's crazy that we live in a world where a young lady... Because I have daughters, dude, like...
I do too, man.
Yeah, where a young lady gets herself out of a situation, and they're like, oh, you got to pay $150,000. That's crazy to me.
It is.
Regardless of any law, that's nuts. But you have to make a choice, and that's what brought my mind to that. You have to make a choice. You have to say, okay, I'm no longer going to live in the prison of my mind. I'm not going to live in the prison of the place where I'm at. I'm going to change it. It might take you years, but you have to start, and you have to never quit.
Yes.
You have to, there's days I wake up and I say, man, I would love to just not do any of this anymore.
Yep.
My body hurts, or financially I'm struggling, because like we said before, we're in the midst of being entrepreneurs. We haven't made it. So we still have
nowhere near it.
We still have financial struggles. We still have real world problems of, am I going to be able to pay this bill this month? But I always remind myself that it has to get better because I'm still alive.
You will, man.
I'm still here. It has to get better. And what's not going to make it better? Quitting, or me just lying there going, oh, I just wish that something was better. Yeah, because no one's going to come and be like, oh, hey, David, here's a big fat check. Have a good day.
I love this blonde lady. I watch her all the time. I forgot her name, but she always comes up on my Facebook feeds and stuff. And she goes, no one's coming. No one's going to tell you get up at 5 a.m. No one's going to tell you go get that job. No one's going to tell you start a business. It's all up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we forget as people. We always feel like somebody owes us something, like society owes us something. It's not, man. This is America. Everybody's free to do whatever the hell they want to do. So go out there and freaking get it.
Yeah.
Go out there and get it, and just don't quit. Like, it's that simple. Like, literally, don't quit.
You'll never be successful quitting.
I don't care if it takes me another 20 years, I'm not quitting. If I get where I want to be at I'm 36 now. So at 56, if I get where I want to be and I live till 80, I live 24 years at the peak of my life to do whatever the hell I want to do. Right? So just don't quit. I don't care if it takes 20 years. I don't care if it takes 30 more years. It's like, what am I leaving for my kids? I go get a job tomorrow. And
Yeah.
then what? To work 30 years, retire, and then do what? What do I leave for my kids?
Well, perspective now is we're not 20 anymore
No.
and we have kids. So it would be selfish of us to go, I'm going to get what I want no matter what. My kids can just suffer. Like somebody, like we tell people this all the time in financial services. Somebody has to be the guy or the girl that says, okay, I'm going to leave my family better off than when they came into the world. Like me and you both, if we were to die tomorrow, our families would have millions of dollars.
Yeah, they're set.
They're set. We chose to be it that way, not because we don't want our kids to work. And most people are like, I don't want to give my kids money because then they won't work. That's your responsibility, is to teach them to work. If your
Yes.
kids are lazy, like, I'm not mocking you, please, but if your kids are lazy, it's partly your fault.
It is.
Make them do
It's always,
something.
it's always the parents. They watch you. Like, let me tell you how important this is. So my father-in-law took my son clothes shopping. My son chose every single shirt was a polo shirt, was a button-up shirt, was slacks. And he's like, why'd you choose that? Why didn't you pick a regular t-shirt with Batman on it? And he's like, because that's what my daddy wears. So like our kids watch us. So it's the mentality we set into our kids that we're passing on. It doesn't matter how much money you pass on. If the mentality is not right, they're not disciplined, they're not
The character that you build.
the character. Yes, it's all going to go poof.
What do you
know?
surround them with? You are who you hang out with. If you listen,
100%.
if you listen to negative stuff all the time, you know, like if you watch romance movies all the time and then you try to go date someone, it's not going to be like that.
No, it's not.
Not even close. You know,
It's false reality.
and if you, so what you take in is what you will put out. And so if you hang around a bunch of negative people all the time, you're gonna end up being a negative person. You know, the Bible talks about you can't take leavened bread and put it next to unleavened bread and expect the leavened bread to make the unleavened bread. Right? It's the opposite effect. Mold will jump from
Mm-hmm.
something bad to something good if you set it next to each other.
Yes.
And it's the same way in your life. If you go to a bunch of quitters, oh, I tried that once, man. Yeah, don't worry. Hey, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. No, be with somebody that levels you up, that will call you out and say, hey, dude, like, I love you, but pick yourself up, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't
That's how it
quit.
is. Okay,
That-
so David, he had COVID over the last, 5 days?
Yeah.
And he's really sick. He still feels sick. But I called him yesterday. I was like, dude, we're filming the podcast tomorrow. Like, we're not quitting this stuff. We're releasing one episode a week, no matter what happens. And he's like, all right, man, I'll see you at the office. And that's what we do to each other. We level each other up. You know, you talk to maybe a client that's way out of your league, or you think it's out of your league, right?
Mm-hmm.
We level each other up, and you can do this. You know what I mean? There's no really excuse of why we shouldn't be doing something,
Right.
right? There's no excuse. Like,
You got
you know,
no excuses. Somebody always has it worse.
somebody does. Yeah, man. You know, there's a kid in Syria right now, or a grown-up in Syria that can't feed his family.
No.
You know, or somewhere, or Iraq, or one of those.
Well, I
countries.
mean, and you've seen that just growing up, you know, Croatia, Serbia area of not having things to eat. You
No,
know,
we
why
didn't have
we're
nothing.
while like we're over here like chilling because we have to eat ramen noodles. Like people would kill for a thing of
They
ramen
would
noodles.
kill for ramen noodle. Yeah, man. We had we lived in refugee camp for 6 years, and you know, Civil War 5 years. Those 11 years of my life, what would have happened if we quit? I wouldn't be here today,
Yeah,
right? So I'll tell you something right now. So we applied as refugees. You can apply and go to any you can apply to any like Western country as a refugee to get immigration status, right? So you can come in. We applied in every single country we could: Canada, Australia, United States, Netherlands, Germany, right? And my mom just kept going back. They kept declining us. She just kept going back, going back, going back. All of a sudden, Australia calls us. We're all happy. We're going to Australia. Oh my God. We do the interviews. Then United States calls us, and we're like, damn, where do we go? You know, like now we have two choices. And then we chose the United States, obviously, but because we're here. But if we quit, if my mom stopped putting in those applications,
Like
we would
after
have
the
never been
after
here.
the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what they say, like when you're trying to look for a job. Like if you're unemployed, you have no excuse. If you're unemployed, you should treat your unemployment like a job. Go apply to literally every place that you can apply for every
Yes.
single day until you get a job.
Apply, bring like 20 resumes with you, and today for 8 hours, go in every place you think you would be a good fit to work in, and just give them a resume, and introduce yourself to a hiring manager.
Hmm.
I had a buddy, he came stay with me in Vegas for a couple of months, and he's like, man, I can't get a job. I'm like, this is what you're gonna do. Tomorrow, you're gonna put on some jeans, you're gonna put on a button-up shirt, you're gonna go get a haircut, shave your beard down, you're gonna make 20 resumes, get up at 8 a.m., go apply online the night prior, and then go in person and give them a resume. Look for a hiring manager. Be like, hey, who's the hiring manager in this facility, right? When they show up, introduce yourself. Be like, I applied online. Here's my resume. This is me. Because nobody does that anymore. He went first day, 2 jobs. Boom, hired on the spot. First 2 places he went into.
Yeah.
So now he's got 2 jobs to choose from.
When he didn't have a job the day before.
He didn't get a job. He didn't have a job. Why? Because you got to come up with a plan and stick to it.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Plan
right?
of action.
Yeah, plan of action.
That's the whole thing is like it's all a choice. That's what life is. Life is a choice.
It is.
You choose. And it may not always be up to your standard, and that's fine. Because most of the time it's not going to be. I didn't wake up this morning and I'll have $1 million in my bank account. All my bills are paid. It didn't happen. I looked. It still wasn't there.
Maybe Money Fairy just sprinkled some
Right,
millions in there.
hey,
You never
it's,
know, right?
it's worth a
Maybe
shot.
Joe Biden's going to hook us up one of these days.
Yeah, well, I already paid my student loans, so
Yeah, me too.
I'm one of the good guys that gets nothing. I get to pay everyone else's through my taxes. Let's
Man,
not get started on
free,
that.
free student loans. You want free college? Go to a military. They'll pay for it. Do some service to your country. Go learn a skill.
For real, yeah. No,
Yeah.
talk about quitting. I was going to go in the military, and I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets in my life. It's not. I was like a week from boot camp, and honestly, if they would have sent me on June 21st, like they were supposed to, I would have went there.
You would've
I would have
went
went in the Air Force.
Yeah.
But God has different plans sometimes. And they moved it to September 9th, and my daughter was born September 3rd, and I was like, oh, I don't want to miss this little girl's life. And I don't regret that at all. I did have to work a lot, but I was home every day. So I don't regret that. There's mixed feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems like so long ago.
I miss so much of my kids' lives, man.
Yeah.
My daughter's 7. When she was 4, I got out the military. I got out the Marines. I missed 2.5 years out of first 4 years of her life. Like right now, my little baby, I see her go through all the stages, and I'm just amazed because the other 2 kids, I missed it. My son was 2, my daughter was 4 when I got out, and my son, first 2 years, I haven't seen him for like 18 months out of the 2 years. And my daughter, like 2.5 years out of the 4. I was always like back in this, we were in Okinawa, Japan, and I was always flying back to the States for 3 months of training here, 3 months of training there, go 3 months to Australia. Then my family moved out here. I stayed in Okinawa by myself for a year. Like I was just consistently gone, you know? And when I got out, man, it was like, that's why I tell everybody, like it was the best decision that I ever made. And I joined late. And you know why I joined? My whole life, I wanted to be in the military. I just always looked at uniforms like a crazy thing. This, like superheroes.
Well, there's a certain
like
amount
the
of
military
respect that
people.
comes with it.
Yeah, and then, I was 18, I wanted to go. My mom started crying. My dad was like, what are you doing? Like, we escaped war, barely survived, all this stuff. You want to go back to war? And in 2005, I was going to my automotive maintenance school. And every morning at 6 a.m., they had news. And I would turn it on. They're like, hey, we had 3 people killed in Iraq today, or yesterday or whatever, right? And I was like, damn, I was only in the States for 4 years at that time, but it pissed me off. Like, I already started developing some type of patriotism for the country. And I was like, I want to go. And then I graduated school, and I told my mom, like, I want to go, and she, like, freaked out, dude. And then I didn't go, right? So I listened to somebody else, and it literally delayed my life by, like, 4 years because I was 23. The job I was working, I hated it. It was just ridiculous, man. And we got laid off because, 2008 economy crash. And I was like, you know what? It's over. I'm going in. I don't care. I don't care if she faints, cries, whatever she does. This is for me. This is not for her. And I went, man, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life.
You know, you have a lot of friends from it.
I
You know,
do,
just
man.
from knowing you, you know, all the time, you're like my Marine buddy here, my Marine buddy there. I know a couple of them just because they're in business with us.
Yeah,
Great guys, great dudes. You know, so there's pros and cons to everything in life.
they are.
You know, and man, I would love, I do like to sit around and kind of have a little pity party sometimes, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
and be like, man, I wish that I would have done this different. I wish that I would have done that different. Um, you know, I found myself in that. I couldn't sleep last night, and I actually found myself in that place of like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Like, what's not working? What's working? Like going through like, okay, what do I need to do next? Because, you know, how do I get my next paycheck? Where is that coming from? How do I get this job done? Because I own a construction company. I have like 3 jobs going, um, and I have a couple more coming up. And I'm like, oh man, I've got to manage all that. And man, it gets stressful. I went to the doctor last Wednesday,
Hmm.
and I was perfectly healthy, but I had high blood pressure, which runs in my family.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I was stressed out,
it's probably from
and
the stress, man. Stress
and
is number one killer. And this is the thing, man. You know, you got 2 businesses, you're working all the time. Like if you have a job, you might have less stress, but if you don't make enough money,
it's
your
stressful.
stress level will
Hmm.
be up. So you're gonna be
Stupid
stressed.
money.
You're gonna be stressed. Yeah, I know. You're gonna be stressed whether you work a job or own businesses, and it's always gonna get worse before it gets better. You know, if you're working 40 hours a week, you start a side hustle. Until that side hustle takes off and you can quit your job, you're gonna be working 70, 80 hours. Dude, I put in like 80, 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
Now people always see me in a suit. They don't think I work. But dude, you know, just like what was it, Tuesday, yesterday, I was going to get 1 license, second license, third license, register for a fair, run here, order
And
inventory,
that's
process
tiring,
payments,
man.
you know, figuring out taxes, you know, running here. Then I get clients calling me for financial services. I got agents I got to train. You know, I get up at 5, go to the gym, you know, come back. Like, it's just crazy, man, you know, but it's not going to be like that forever.
No, it
It's going to
has
be
to.
like that.
There has to be fruits to your labor. You know what I mean? Like, and that's one thing that keeps me going is that like, I can't be putting in all this work and nothing's gonna come from it. You know what I mean? It's like watering a tree or a plant. Dude, my wife loves to garden, and I love the excitement that she has whenever she takes like a plant that's a little wilted or something, and she nurses it back to health, and she's like, and we'll watch it bud. You know, she's like, look at this. You know, I can't. I'd say the names of them, and I'll butcher them because
Hmm.
I just don't know. I'm excited that she's excited, and that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the same thing. It's like when you go to the gym, it doesn't happen in a week. I know I keep referencing that, but it's so true to life in general.
Yes. Anything.
The things you're putting together are going to turn out to be something great. It's like making a great home cooked meal. I know that you love soups,
I love
but
cooking, man.
I know, but at the same, but you know, when you're preparing your vegetables individually, it's just carrots and it's just onions and it's just peppers. But when you put it all together the correct way, which takes time, and then it comes out in the end, you're like, oh man, this is the best whatever that I've ever had. And it's because you put time into it. And it may have only
Yes.
taken you one night, but you know, you can also probably go to the store and buy that in frozen
Yeah.
and
You
pop it in the
probably could.
microwave.
Not
It's
as
not going to
good.
be as good.
Not as
You
good.
know,
It's a
so
shortcut.
right, you know, I would say like in the church world, um, you know, we always want God to microwave our blessings. God's trying to slow roast something for us. You know, like when you go to make a roast. Nowadays they
Oh
have
yeah.
instant pots. Dude, my wife can make a mean roast in like 25 minutes in her instant pot.
That's
But I
crazy.
remember being a kid and my mom making a roast. I remember actually before the instant pot, my wife putting a roast on, you know, in the morning. And then it would be ready that evening. So all day long, you know, it's cooking, it's getting ready, it's marinating. Or I just pop something in the microwave. It's convenient, but it's not as healthy for me.
It's a shortcut, man.
It's a shortcut. It's not good. And we do that to the Lord a lot. We want God to microwave our blessings. God, I want it now. And he's like, I've got something better for you. If you'll just keep on,
Just wait.
just keep the track, keep the plan, keep doing what you're doing. And we're so impatient. I'm impatient. People tell me that. I believe that I have a lot of patience because I feel what I feel. And I don't express what I feel a lot. And so to me, that's patience.
Yeah.
But, you know, like the guy who works for me, he was like, you're kind of impatient. And I'm like, I'm not. I don't think. And then my wife will tell me I'm impatient. And I'm like, I'm not. I don't think.
Dude, I was impatient my whole life, man. I was the guy, I gotta have that car right now. What is it, 15 grand? Okay, cool. What's the interest rate? 13%, no problem. I just want it right now. You know, I want to buy that thing, swipe my credit card, all that stuff. It got me nowhere. It got me nowhere. And then the older I got, I realized, man, I'm behind. I look at people that are mid-30s, you know, they have a career for 10, 15 years.
I know.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I started the Marines. I was going to do that for 20 years. The weird turn of politics in the military and a couple other things made me get out sooner than that. I just could not stand it anymore. I went from something that I loved so much to something that I hated more than anything in this world. Like last 2 years, this is how bad it was. Last 2 years, if somebody said, you can stay 2 more years in the Marines or you can go back to a refugee camp, I would probably pick refugee camp. Like that's how bad it was last 2 years. I worked for, you know, shit command for people that I was just looked at it like, okay, if I go to combat tomorrow, if they send me, we're Marines, we all go, doesn't matter what MOS you are, what military, you know, job you do. Am I willing to die for these guys? Would they die for me? For my younger guys, my junior Marines, oh man, dude, I love my junior Marines, you know. But for the top, that's what we call them, like the top, right? At the top of the, you know, scale this big. I hated them. I couldn't stand them, man. Just they only looked out for themselves. They only looked out for their retirements, for their rank.
Probably the political agenda that's
Oh
being
my
forced
God,
on them
man.
as well.
It was just disgusting. But yeah, man, you know, and I decided to leave, right? And I decided to leave because you know, some people actually told me that I quit. I had a couple of people tell me, oh, you're just quitting. I'm like, I'm not quitting, dude. It just doesn't make sense anymore. It's okay to quit something if it doesn't make sense. Like,
And
you're
it's
not gonna.
I don't know if that's quitting.
It's not quitting because I
think
moved
that's
on to bigger, better
I think you're
things.
choosing a different path.
Yes.
It's okay to choose a different path. It's not okay to go, I quit
I wasn't
everything. I quit life right now.
Dude, I wasn't like depressed. I came home like, oh my God, I feel bad for myself. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna be a bum on the street.
Got
like,
your fuzzy wuzzy blanket.
There was
got some more milk.
Yeah, that's what. But speaking of quitting, right? You ever quit anything where?
Oh, sure.
Where you felt like crap afterwards?
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me a story, then I'll tell you
Every
one.
time that I go to the gym for like 2 or 3 weeks and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then like 6 months later, I look back at those 2 or 3 weeks and I'm like, man, if I just would have kept going that up.
That's it.
And I'm like, oh, because I'm still a tad overweight. And I've had multiple times that I didn't have to be. And I've chosen by not choosing.
Yeah.
Not choosing is a choice. Okay?
You're right. Yeah.
Not choosing is a choice.
No, it is 100%. Yeah.
We deal with a lot of people that they don't look at their 401k statements because they're just going to magically get better. They just throw them in the trash. But not choosing to look is choosing to not do something about it.
Yes.
But so for me, for quitting, oh man,
I'll go first. You think of it.
no, go ahead.
All right. So I got stationed in Okinawa, Japan. This was the end of 2014. December 19 is when I checked into my unit. And, you know, first like week or two, you like check you check in, you go get weighted in, right? They give you your orders. You're kind of learning where you're going to work and stuff like that. And I go inside this office and this lieutenant, she goes, hey, you want to do my quiz? And at this time, I was a guy that just jumped on everything. It's like,
You want to do what?
McQuiz, and I'll tell you what that is in a second. And I was a guy that jumped on a grenade. I didn't care what it was. I always volunteer for everything. And I was like, yeah, I'll do McQuiz. She's like, can you swim? Yeah, I can swim. Well, I could, right? But I couldn't swim to that level.
Okay.
So McQuiz is Marine Corps Instructor of Water Survival.
Oh.
School, right?
Yeah. So if you can't swim really well, you probably shouldn't instruct
No,
people on
it's
how to
not,
swim.
dude. It's not even like this is not even swimming. Like what they do, it's insane. So, anyways, I figure out it's in 4 months. So I'm like, I have 4 months to prepare. So I start, swimming every day. Like I'm talking miles, like 2, 3 miles a day, carrying a brick, swimming with rifles above my head, treading water with hands out of the pool. I mean, I'm just like slaying myself in the pool every day. I'm like losing weight. I'm getting in shape. I'm like, all right, this might not be a bad idea, right? I qualify, I take the test, and we go into the school. The school starts first day, right? After first day, second day, I was hoping I get in a car accident, so I don't have to go jump back into the pool. Like that's how terrible this thing is. And there was people in there, man, doing great. And I was one of the faster swimmers. I was like sixth out of 32 people.
Yeah.
So like, but it's not how fast you swim. It's how you float with 80 pounds of gear on you, with boots, with camouflage uniforms on you, with everything. And I do day 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I mean, I'm talking every day they add more weight, more gear. You got to pull people across the pool. They drown you, take you to the bottom of the pool. You're swallowing water. It's just like, it's man, the worst 4 days of my life. Day 5 comes, my wife was pregnant, and she started having stomach pain. So I call in, I'm like, I have to take her to the emergency room, right? She was like 8.5 months pregnant. And I'm going through this freaking school, right? And I take her to emergency room, mother the baby, whatever, they let us go. I missed the day. It was Friday. So now I had a whole weekend to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed the day, come back Monday, dude. I was like, man, I hate this. They added more weight. So now we got SEPI plates in the front, in the back, the vest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bulletproof vest, camouflaged uniforms, boots, and you get the same thing. And I'm supposed to like haul you across the whole pool. I can't even haul myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And about maybe 12:30, maybe 1 p.m., like I was swallowing water. I probably drank like 3 gallons of water in like an hour. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I quit and I get out, right? Everybody's like, man, you're a decent swimmer, man. Are you sure you want to quit? They're like, if you want to take a break, you can take a break. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. I leave. Now I have to tell my whole unit that I quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like a go-getter. So
Yeah.
nobody expected me to quit. And I came back. I was so, like, that's one thing I regret probably most in my life.
So how close were you to finishing?
Well, we were like 9 training days out. It was a 15 training day course. So I was like maybe 1/3 of it through.
Yeah.
And they barely took me back because I missed a day. Usually
Mhm.
when you miss a day, you can't even catch up. That's how far ahead they are. And man, next 6 months, what happened to me mentally after I quit that, because I went from the top. I was like one of the top Marines. I was selected by, first sergeants and sergeant major in the battalion. I was there only for 2 months to teach the first ever course. I was like one of the better sergeants, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, man, I went from being the top to being the garbage.
Mhm.
And what that does to you mentally, man, I mean, I stopped working out. I stopped running. I got depressed. Like it was just, I gained weight. I got fat. I was overweight. I was overweight, fat Marine, man. And these days you can be anything you want to be in the Marines. You cannot be fat, right? So that's my story where really like quitting hit me really hard mentally, like made me depressed, man, to the point where I didn't want to go home.
Mhm.
I couldn't eat, right? I couldn't sleep. It was just ridiculous, man. You really, really messed with me for about 6 months to about 9 months, maybe. And it really messed me up. So ever since that day, I learned off of that quitting, right? From there, when I start something, I'm just not going to quit anymore.
Mhm.
Just keep going so you don't have that feel of regret.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's my story. What you got?
Man, I just have a lot of things that that I've just quit on, Uh like I told you that whenever I was younger, um I probably one of my bigger quitting things is I played football when I was a kid. And I mean, I played football all the time. Never played another sport. I didn't even know how to play another sport. It was my dream to play football. I played with my older brother. He's 9 years older than me. So you can imagine, when I'm 7, he's 15, 16 years old, like out there playing with him. played Boys and Girls Club, started moving. Um, then I remember played in 7th grade in Arkansas, and I was a middle linebacker and a fullback. And my first play, my first game, I blew my knee out. Um, and I just, they told me I had to take a break. Man, I was on crutches for a long time. And uh, when it was finally time to really go back and play, I just quit. To be honest with you, I just did. And I think that's like one of my bigger regrets is like, I went and played basketball. I tried other sports. But I didn't play football anymore. And I love football. I think that's probably one of my bigger things. Like, that probably still messes with me a little bit, 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, man, how, because you have to think about how these decisions change the course of your life.
No, they do.
Like, even little decisions, like, they change the course of your life. When you choose not to go in the military, when you choose not to start a side hustle, when you choose to not do something, or you choose to quit in the middle of it, or let it defeat you, at that time, you might not understand the repercussions of it. But when you get older and you have to look back, and everyone has to look back, and everyone will have regrets, but, when you think like, man, maybe I should have tried a little harder, or maybe I should have worked a little more, maybe I should have just given it one more day.
Also, if you quit all the time, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So like everything, as soon as you feel something hard, you just quit.
Yeah, and you have to break that cycle, of okay, I'm not gonna quit. Like, it's okay to take a break. Mentally, sometimes you have to. Mentally, sometimes, like we play golf, and we'll play. There's times we've played for like 2 weeks straight.
Every day.
And played great that first week. At the end of the first week, feeling great, fixing to go on tour, like doing awesome. And then go back and, you just play and you just watch as you steadily decline, and you're still playing and you're like, what is happening?
You know what's crazy, man?
And then you go take a week off and you don't swing a club.
Yes.
And then you go back and play and you're like, whoa, how did I hit the ball that well just now? Like, I haven't swung a club in a week. Sometimes you have to step away from something to just allow your mind to regroup, to get a different perspective, to maybe go back to the fundamentals, because, in golf they say there's the paralysis of analysis. It's because you're overanalyzing everything so much, and you know how it's supposed to work, that in your analyzing, you mess everything up. But when you step back and you go in and you just go, okay, I'm just going to play the game. And you play better. And sometimes that's just life. Sometimes you have to get away and then come back with a fresh perspective and say, I'm just going to get back to the fundamentals of it. I'm going to get back to enjoying this again. I'm not going to let it be the burden that I've allowed it to be.
Yes.
I'm just going to, man, life is about having fun. You don't want to be 50, 60, 70 years old going, I never did anything fun in my life. I just worked. Like, make work fun. Make whatever you're doing fun.
Yes.
Like, don't go through life going, wow, life sucks. You're going to die eventually.
Man, life is a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, it's such a great thing, and it's such a gift because, man, not everybody has a good life. Like, for me, dude, I've never been to another country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea what that's like. I've listened to your stories. I have a friend that's from South Africa. I've listened to his stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I have stories, but I don't know everyone else's life, and I don't know where you're at in life. But listen to me. Don't quit on life. Don't quit on your life. You are alive for a reason. Like, wake up tomorrow and say, hey, it's going to be a great day. I'm not going to let anybody stop me from having a good day today. And you're not always going to succeed at that. But have that attitude of like, I'm not going to quit on life. Have fun. Take a moment. There are things that will be there tomorrow that you can finish so that you can stop for 5 minutes and play a game with your kid. That's true. That you can go and enjoy something, You know, like, so I like golf. You like golf. I love spending time with my kids. Um, you know, I do occasionally like to play a video game, so I'll take like an hour or a little while and play one. Um, you know, there are things that we all just enjoy, and it's okay. It's okay to enjoy things. It's okay to have fun. Life doesn't have to be stress all the time. Find something and enjoy it and enjoy your life, and don't quit on life, and don't quit on your dreams and your goals. Take a break maybe, but don't quit. Like, that's the whole thing for today, is don't quit.
Just don't quit. It's that simple. Whatever you start, keep going. If you gotta crawl, if you gotta, what does it say? If you can't crawl, walk. Oh, if you can't walk, crawl.
Do something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like if you're moving slow, it's still, progress.
And
You know what
don't
I mean?
look at everyone else's progress for your own progress.
Yes.
Don't look at somebody who has been in the game longer than you and they're better than you. Of course they are.
Yes.
You know, if you look at your kids. He has 3 kids. Deanna's 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Valentina's a baby.
Yes.
Valentina can't do all the things Deanna can do.
No, she can. Yeah.
Why?
Because she's been doing it longer.
Right.
Obviously, yeah.
You're 35. I'll be 35 this year.
I'm 36.
Oh, God. He's 36. I'll be 35 this year. Like, it took 35 years for me to get here. I can't expect 20 years to be at 35 years. It takes time.
It does.
Enjoy the ride.
It
It's
does,
gonna
and
be
also
hard.
and also notice the progress, right? I think about it. First, like 26 years of my life, I was a shithead, right? So I'm like, all right, 26 years, I wasted it, literally wasted it, right? I mean, the kid aspect, like refugee camps, civil wars, and all that crap, I couldn't control that. That was out of my control. But then when I came to the States at 16, I became a shithead, right? I came to the States, started working, got a little money, started spending everything, hanging out with I'd call them now the wrong crowd. At that time, I thought they were my best friends. We're going to do all these great things
Because you
together.
just wanted the acceptance of somebody.
That's it. I was literally craving the acceptance of people around me. It was that simple. I see it now, right? And then at 29, my daughter was born. So at 26, I kind of started waking up a little bit. I got married, right? At 29, my daughter was born, and my life changed.
Yeah, he'll do
was,
that to you.
And that was 7 years ago. And I was like, okay, what am I going to leave for my kids? I just kept thinking about, it's not about me anymore, it's about my kids. What do I need to do to put myself in the best position possible to give my kids the best life they could have? And I'm not talking just get a bunch of iPads and get a bunch of toys and crap like that. I'm talking like the mindset. What am I leaving for my kids, for my legacy? What am I going to leave? Like, I want my grandkid to be like, hey, my grandpa Alex left my dad and my mom, right? These great businesses, great mindset. Now, I want my kids to be like next Trump, man.
Yeah, you want to have a legacy.
Yeah.
You want to have a legacy.
Yes. And I woke up, man, and I was just like, and then 3 years ago, I decided to go into business. And I just see last 3 years the progress I made.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in compound effect of things.
Sure.
Right? Everything compounds. So like right now, I don't see much results, right? But you stick it another year, right? And another year. And the results are going to compound. Like the knowledge you have is going to compound. The momentum you get is going to compound,
Sure.
right? It's going to start moving faster. It's like when you invest money. If you put $100 a month into something, first month you get interest rate on it 10%, you make $10. It's nothing. But 20 years down the road, you get 10% interest on something, and you got $1 million in there. Now you're making $100,000 a year, or a month of interest, right? So it's just like compound effect of things. So I look at it next year, next 2 years, it's going to double up what I made so far. 2 years after that, it's going to double up again, right? 1 or 2 years, it's going to double up again. So in 10 years, 15 years from now, I'll be exactly where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just delayed gratification process.
You just have to keep your eye on the prize.
That's it, and never quit,
Never quit.
and just keep pushing.
That's the message of the day.
That is the message of the day.
Message
and
of the
that's-
week: never quit.
Never
So
quit.
start, and then don't quit. Put that in your mindset early. Don't quit. No matter how hard it gets, if it's your dream, if it's your goal, don't quit.
Just keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Yeah. That's all we got for you guys today.
I'm David. This is Alex.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching us, for listening to us. Okay, please subscribe to our channel. We're gonna have a lot more things coming down the road. We're gonna have some local entrepreneurs come on the podcast. We're gonna interview them. We're gonna see who else we can get on. But thank you guys very much. David, you got anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you guys.
Don't
Have
quit.
a great week.
Don't quit.
Don't quit, ever.